Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the R.I.P podcast. We are on episode 9, so yeah. Fuck it, we're not doing that.
I'm the new host, actually. Welcome to another episode of the R.I.P podcast. This is Adam Franey. Scott's here tied up.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, Scott.
Hey guys, and welcome to episode 9 of the R.I.P podcast. My name is Scott Ellis, and I'm joined here by my 4 compadres. Starting off first today is Tim McGavick.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 9 of the best podcast in the world.
Oh yeah.
Woo!
Oh,
it's definitely the highest viewed.
Oh, at least the GTA. At least the GTA.
At least in the GTA, yeah.
Also here, Tyler Switalski.
Pass.
Wow.
And Adam.
And Adam Franey.
Hi, listeners. Thanks for tuning in. I'll try to make up for my colleague here. Passed on you. I guess he doesn't give a shit.
Wow.
Way to just tear me apart. Thank you.
So let's just run down a couple of things we're going to discuss on today's podcast.
Ruthless.
As usual, we're going to talk about the last movie we saw before today. And we're also going to do a review of a movie that came out last week, Straight Outta Compton. Yes, that movie. And we're also going to discuss some of the latest movie news that came out this week. We're going to talk a little Skull Island casting, some Assassin's Creed photo that came out, and also Civil War photos. And yeah, so we're going to talk about those things today. But without further ado, let's get into our last scene. Anyone want to jump in? Tim.
We mentioned the news that just broke a couple minutes before we started recording this.
Yes.
Wes Craven, one of the masters of horror, has passed away at 76. You guys know him from The Hills Have Eyes, The Nightmare on Elm Street, and he directed all 4 of the Scream movies.
Yes. We would be remiss without mentioning that.
No.
You will be missed. You were a horror classic.
No.
Any of those any of those movies have an impact on you guys?
Well, the Nightmare on Elm Street movies were actually the first horror movies that I ever saw.
Really?
So, it was something that my brother bought when we were younger. He bought the whole set, a box set, and we watched them. And that was my intro to horror. So he was like a pioneer. You definitely see
definitely
all these traits that he had in his movies being used, even in modern day horrors today.
Is that where you fell in love with Johnny Depp?
That's where it started. That's where the obsession first started.
Right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Early.
He was in Nightmare on Elm Street, if you guys didn't catch that. Almost
into
unrecognizable. He doesn't look anything.
No.
He's so young.
Yeah.
Incredibly young.
And then the opening scene in Scream is famous, where Drew Barrymore is on the phone talking, and Ghostface is taunting her, and then she runs out and famous scene.
I think of Scary Movie more than Scream.
Every time.
Everyone probably does.
That's definitely what I think of.
Can you see me now?
All
right.
Oh God.
Now I'm backstairs.
Yeah.
Did Wes Craven do Hellraiser too? I can't remember.
No,
did he produce that?
He might have.
He produced a lot too.
Yeah.
His name was on a lot of different things.
I'm sure he had a lot of credit for he got a lot of credit all over the place for.
Yeah. But yeah, Wes Craven definitely be missed for his impact on horror cinema for sure. He was a heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
So. I will say Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm not the hugest fan of his films. I don't think they're that good. But Nightmare on Elm Street scared me to death when I was younger. When I was
couldn't sleep after that.
Yeah, when I was 13, just lost a lot of sleep. When I think the only one I saw was New Nightmare. Is that the one with Wes Craven in it?
Yeah,
that's one he directed as well. He directed the first one and New Nightmare.
Oh, really?
I'm sure he probably has producing credits on the rest of them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, he's in New Nightmare as
it's
himself.
about them making the movie or making a movie about
super meta.
It's really weird. Yeah.
When you're 13, it's terrifying. It is.
I feel like he'd take that as a compliment. That's really what he was going for, is to scare the shit out of you.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So if that's what he was going for, definitely succeeded.
Yeah, Wes Craven definitely be missed.
R.I.P.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's jump into the usual last scene. Does anyone want to start us off this week? You know what? I'm going to start us off this week.
Never mind.
You know what? Because it was a little segue there.
This guy again.
With horror.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm not a huge horror guy, but I've been hearing. I had heard great reviews of this movie this year, and I just had to see it finally. A horror movie directed by David Robert Mitchell, who isn't very well known so far, but I think his name's going to get out there. The movie is It Follows, which came out March 27th of this year, starring Micah Monroe, Keir Gilchrist, Daniel Zovato, and Jake Weary, who basically unknown cast. The one kid, Keir Gilchrist, did that movie with Zach Galifianakis in a hospital. I don't remember.
It's kind of a funny story.
Yes, he did that. So that was the only person I recognized. Yeah, he's in It Follows. So yeah,
I saw this on Letterboxd. I sniped your.
I had a couple movies on there, so it could have been any of those.
I'm a Letterboxd detective. Nothing gets by me. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah, It Follows. Basically, it's a story. It doesn't really fit with a lot of other horror movies. It's not. It doesn't really follow the cliches quite as much. But essentially, it's the story of this girl who, after having a physical encounter with a guy, basically the supernatural creature entity starts following her, and the way that it gets passed on is basically through sex. So yeah, that is how this entity gets passed on, and basically it's a person. It could be someone you know, it could be someone you don't know, and they're just following you, walking slowly after you. So that is, that's the creepiness of it. But for me, this movie is really good.
Ooh.
I heard great things about this one.
I've heard great things.
Like,
very different horror movie.
The soundtrack is amazing. It really builds the tension, and the cast is great. It feels real, and the setting is creepy. It's set in Detroit.
Very creepy place.
Yeah.
Really?
And they don't mention it in the movie at all, but there was this one scene where they go to, it's just totally innocuous. They just go to an ice cream parlor, but there's the street signs. And I was like, all right, I have to Google that. So I literally street viewed it. It's in Detroit because they don't mention it at all. And there's a few scenes where they go to like a cottage, and it's clearly on like Lake Michigan or something, or St. Clair near Detroit. So yeah, this movie really creepy, and it'll make you wear a purity ring after. Seriously.
It's a weird review, Scott.
It is.
Make you be a born again virgin.
Yeah. It creeped the hell out of me, and I would definitely recommend you guys seen it. Have any of you guys seen this movie?
No.
No, I've heard lots about this.
High on my list.
Here, though, yeah.
I need to see it, I know.
Surprise, surprise, guys. Tyler has never heard of this movie.
Never heard of it?
Never even heard of it?
No, never heard of it.
Really?
No.
I'm not overly surprised. I don't think it got a wide release.
No.
Really,
It
ever.
just got so much word of mouth, I thought maybe...
I just don't follow horrors that much. Like, I don't like...
Neither
like,
do I, but this one's like really talked about.
I don't know if it's an allegory for like STIs or something.
I
don't think it is, but
I'm going to write that down.
The villain is the herpes of horror movies.
Basically.
Oh, God.
Once you get it, it's hard to get rid
I have to ask.
It's there for life.
I noticed from the trailer, I think. I don't know where I heard this. I heard this maybe from other people. The score. How's the score?
Yeah, the score was amazing.
Did you already say the score was amazing? Oh, sorry. I
Open your ears, Adam.
I wasn't...
Are you even at this podcast?
It was
following. It doesn't follow, if you're me.
Yeah, it just set this eerie tone the whole movie, and it was just unsettling. Because there'd be scenes where, I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but, you know, like characters would be walking, and, you know, there's always this thing following you, this person. Could be anyone. And they're just walking down, it literally follows all the time. They're just
Sounds
walking
terrifying. I don't even know what it means.
Walking down the street, and there's just someone just slowly walking towards you. And when they get to you...
Shit. Okay, don't give it away, because I don't want to know.
So you can't like sleep and stuff because you gotta be a constant moving?
Yeah.
Oh, sounds terrifying. I'm in.
And, yeah, it's... You guys have to see it.
I mean, how's the cinematography?
The cinematography is great. It's really good.
Something I realized about myself, all I care about nowadays, score and cinematography. Like, that's my number... I'm not even paying attention to plots anymore.
Plot... No.
I don't even know what's happening in the movie. I'm just looking at, like, how'd they frame that shot? Is this a synth score?
This sounds like... Zimmerman?
Yeah, Hans Zimmer.
There was one shot that stood out for me in this movie where it's... The camera just rotates for, like, a few rotations.
Yeah.
And it's like... that kind of feeling where, like, there's always that person following, and there's a window, and you see a person, and then it rotates, and they're a little bit closer, and then it rotates, and they're a little bit closer. So
terrifying on so many levels.
It was.
It sounds like what I like a subtle kind of like, not like gore and like jump scares. It's like
it wasn't overt that was even that follows.
Okay.
It wasn't even obvious. Like it wasn't so clear. But the thing is, this movie makes you like look behind you for a while after. You're
so
like,
creepy.
is someone following me? You're like, the thing is, because the thing about is it changes. It's not just one person. So
that's what I've heard.
Yeah, definitely
Really?
recommend it for you guys. It's making me want to see it again.
You're
Seriously,
pretty amped up right now.
Yeah.
Should we make this a real recommend since it fits our rule of one person has seen it, 3 haven't?
Yeah, it could be,
Possibly.
definitely. I'm going to give this a light 4 to 5 reels. Honestly,
Damn.
as a horror movie, it's definitely up there for me.
Is this like cracking the top 10 horror movies of all time for you, or
Maybe favorite for me. I'd have to sit down, but not of all best of all time. But it's definitely
I thought you were saying it's your favorite horror movie of all time.
no.
Oh no,
No.
Okay.
A favorite.
I mean,
yeah,
okay.
maybe top 10 horror movies for
That's what
me.
I'm saying. Top
Yeah.
10 horror of all time.
It
Possibly?
could be. I'd have to sleep on it.
Yeah.
But light 4 to 5 reels.
Like I'm sleeping tonight.
Just after the description of that.
Yeah.
Right? Terrifying.
You guys should watch it when you guys get home.
Yeah, no thanks.
No, thank you, sir.
Have fun sleeping after that. Yeah, anyone else want to jump in with their last scene?
Anyone else want to follow that?
You know what? I'll jump in. So
Okay,
for my last scene, thank you. For my last scene, I saw Minority Report.
Okay.
Sniped it on Letterboxd, already knew.
Damn it! I think I might
You
just-
should be a detective.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm the Letterboxd detective. The D in Letterboxd. Letterboxd detective.
Letterboxd D. Okay.
It's probably one of the worst jokes we've had on the
Go ahead.
We've had better.
So I'll give you a little synopsis here. A action detective thriller set in Washington, D.C. in 2054, where police utilize psychic technology to arrest and convict murderers before they commit their crime. Tom Cruise plays the head of his pre-crime unit and is then himself accused of future murder of a man he has not even met.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah. It's hard for me to
Drama.
do this when like I'm making it all suspenseful, but you guys have seen it like 5 years
Yeah,
before I did.
we've already seen this.
So like
5 years.
yeah.
It's been like a decade.
Yeah.
I saw this like this year.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This movie was on my list of movies to see. I mean, like maybe a year ago, and I saw it probably 8 months ago now.
okay, so I feel
What are
less
you guys
stupid
doing
now.
on this
Thank you.
podcast?
Yeah,
Yeah, what are you guys doing on this?
because I'd seen it. I mean, it's been on TV and stuff. I've seen parts of it, but I
Yeah.
hadn't fully seen it. So,
Uh,
but continue.
So, directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Tom Cruise, Colin Farrell, Samantha Morton, Max von Sydow, and
See down.
Catherine Morris, who I don't think does
Was
a
she
lot
the
of...
was she the precog?
No, she was the wife, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Samantha Morton, sorry. Samantha Morton was the precog, if I'm correct.
Okay.
But
What'd you think of it?
I thought it was, for its time, I thought it was very good. And I know that's weird saying 2012, but like the CGI it's so different from 13 years ago.
Yeah.
I thought it was just very, very well done.
I did like the CG of like when they're
Yeah, with all
when
the hands.
Cruise is controlling the kind
Yeah.
of computer and like shooting things around. Like I did like that.
I think they did really well with it, and it goes back to the movie I reviewed my last scene back August 2nd, which was Total Recall. This was again supposed to be the sequel
Right.
to
Yeah.
Total Recall.
Tie-ins.
Yeah, so they changed quite a few things actually, but it was.
Pretty much all the plot and characters got switched.
Yeah, plot, characters, original cast, director,
Whole
writers,
revamp.
everything was pretty much changed. So actually,
Literally everything.
yeah, so in no way is this actually a sequel to Total Recall.
But it was written.
It was written.
The base story was
the base story
Philip K.
was Philip K. Dick. Yeah.
Love him.
So, but yeah, I thought it was very.
about it.
There was one specific scene that sticks in my head where it's well, spoilers. I'm assuming everyone else in the world has seen this movie.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert for the next minute or so. It's this one scene where Max von Sydow and Catherine Morris are talking, and it's where like she's trying to figure out what's going on with her ex-husband Tom Cruise, and you know at this point is that Max von Sydow is the bad guy.
Because he's Max von Sydow.
Yeah.
He's a bad guy in everything he does.
His name
I mean,
just
let's be
sounds
honest.
creepy. So it's when like he messes up his story one time, and she kind of catches on. She's like, "I'd never mentioned drowning" or something like that. And they play this one like they angle the camera this one way, and like there's a window behind him, and it, like totally whites out his face for a second as it's turning. It's just a beautiful shot, and it's just like that just stuck in my head as soon as I
I
saw
remember
it.
that shot too.
Tyler's
Yeah.
learning to appreciate film.
It was
Cinematography.
this is a big day for me, guys. I actually understand.
This is like
movies
watching your
now.
child like play, Little League or something.
Yeah,
and
The
they
little
hit a home
guy's
run.
growing up.
He
He's
swings,
growing
he hits
up.
it, he's like, oh my god.
First day of school.
He just took his first steps.
Don't go too far like me, where you don't even know what's happening in the movie. You're just looking at shots and like listening to scores.
Yeah, there's
We've
no way
gone too
that'll
far.
happen.
No.
No, I'm not.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
I'm proud how far you've come.
Yeah, and so again, just such a there wasn't a boring part in it for me. Like it was all so intricate, like especially with like Tom Cruise's backstory, where they never actually went into like in depth as to like what happened with his son, what happened with his marriage. They didn't actually go into in depth, but you kind of like pieced it together over how fucking terrible his life was, and so you just kind of got that image, and so it was just a really good movie.
It was like very. I know what you mean about like interesting the whole way through. Very original, like
Yeah.
high concept.
Yeah,
The one thing that I didn't really like about this movie is major nitpicking.
yeah.
But those jetpacks, for some reason, they just look so fake to me.
Because it looked like they actually had it looked like you could tell they were on strings and stuff. Like
Yeah.
the way they were moving around.
Awkward,
Yeah.
stiff. Like,
Yeah.
You're like, just like flying up in this
Didn't
weird
look
kind of
good.
movements.
Yeah.
And that's.
I think some of the effects are dated because I thought the scene. I think it was like a highway. It's been like
with
a couple
the
months.
cars that drive themselves
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like going like
up a building, or
90
something?
degree
Or-
angle, I think.
Yeah.
And Tom Cruise is like jumping from one car to car. Looked like shit.
Which is actually really cool because they did like a very similar sequence in the Total Recall remake, starring
Which looked a lot
starring Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell. Tie-ins.
Yeah.
Damn.
But yeah, so it was
Shot
just
right
like
here in
Ties,
Toronto.
tie-ins.
it was tie-ins. New segment coming up. But yeah, no, I really really liked
How
it.
many reels?
How many reels?
Ooh, reel it up.
I'm giving this a 4 out of 5 reels.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Ballsy.
Yeah,
Nice.
very, very good.
A little high for me.
Yeah, you think so?
Just a lot. I'd give it like a light 3.
Light 3?
Well,
Whatever. It's pretty
it wasn't your last scene, so...
Yeah, I should
mean-
just shut up.
Adam, please don't interrupt while I'm giving my last scene.
I always forget it's Spielberg. Does it
Yeah.
feel like a Spielberg movie,
I-
you
I-
guys?
It doesn't feel like it's
I
Spielberg
saw
to me.
like it had some aspects of a Spielberg, but it didn't feel like it through the entire film.
It kind of
It's very popcorny, I guess.
the look,
Yeah.
like the colors and everything, remind me of War of the Worlds. Again, totally forget it's a Spielberg movie.
Yeah.
Right.
It's weird. He
Yeah.
had like a little run with Tom Cruise where they just did like 2 one-off.
And they actually had a cinematographer that actually did a whole bunch with them too. Jen, I have mental notes.
Got to go back into the memory bank.
Yeah,
so-
the memory
Check
bank
up the
here.
memory banks.
You guys just talking
In the
about.
meantime, this is part of Spielberg's unofficial Running Man trilogy,
Okay.
where someone is on the run. So it's Minority Report, AI, and Catch Me If You Can.
What, really?
Yeah.
Not War of the Worlds in there?
No, but those are like
He's
3
on the
movies.
run.
I think he did those 3 like
Consecutively?
consecutively. I think.
Really?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
It's unofficial.
Sweet.
But it's like his main character is like on the run from some sort of government body.
So I just found my mental notes here.
In your mind.
Yeah, it's in my mind, of course.
So you remember.
It was a cinematographer known as Janusz Kaminski.
Wow.
He's
Kaminski. Rings
been the
bells.
cinematographer for several Tom Cruise movies, and was actually at one point considered for the director of Collateral. When it was bouncing
wow.
around in development,
Really?
he was actually considered for the director of that.
Very interesting.
Another
Yeah.
Ties tie-in from his
Damn,
last
you're
week.
tying in everything.
Love it.
Beautiful thing, right?
Love it.
But yeah, does anyone want to jump in with their
You're Adam.
last scene?
Dun dun dun. I'll go in.
All right, Tim. What do you got? What do you got for us this
This
week?
is going way back to 1950.
Ooh.
Japanese film
Robot.
Ooh.
called Rashomon by Akira Kurosawa
Ah.
Yeah, just hurry up, Tim, so I can get to mine.
and written by Akira Kurosawa and Shinobu Hashimoto. So in Japan, 4 people retell their events of a crime, each with different conflicting versions of those events. So Kurosawa and his cinematographer Kazuo Miyagawa have created a beautifully shot film. Holy shit. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, really?
So this is one of the earliest examples of like handheld camera work, where like it's not on a track or a tripod or whatever, because they're following characters through like a maze-like forest, like right behind the character, like ducking with them and stuff like that. It's really well done. Like, it doesn't seem like it's shot in the 50s. It was incredible.
And also tie into our bonus episode. There's a few shots where there's a sun is going through the trees, and it reminded me because I got it mentioned for the podcast. I also saw this movie this week.
Oh,
so there you go.
Double down.
But it reminded me
Tag
of
team.
the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. That train scene where there's the sun going through the trees.
Scott,
Light,
I remember.
Sorry, the light on the train
Blew my
going
mind.
through the trees. But in Rashomon, the light streaming through the trees, it just gave this interesting kind of visual effect, and it kind of, I think it's almost a metaphor for like how the events are kind of
The truth,
shrouded.
being the light, is shrouded by the trees.
Yeah,
Damn.
Amazingly
There's
enough,
a lot
I
of
have that
metaphors in
written
this
down
movie.
in my mental notes here, that there's amazing shots, which we see often today, of the sun being seen through trees. Again, this is apparently one of the first times this has happened in film.
I wish you could have seen Tim's face there
and
as Scott was talking. It's just like this big yes. That's exactly it. Yes.
yes,
Keep
yes.
going.
So I think Scott would probably agree with me. Those shots are extremely beautiful in black and white, because you get like the stark blackness of the leaves and then just bright white shining through it. It's very different than what you get in like a colored film.
I feel like they had a tougher time back then to
Yeah.
create visual interest with black and white, but he's a master of that.
There's rain throughout most of this movie, like heavy downpour, but the rain doesn't show up on or water doesn't show up in black and white film that much, so they had to dye all the water black with ink to get it to actually show up like starkly enough that you could tell that it was like pouring rain.
And there's a lot of rain. It's torrential. They used a lot of water to pump. They pumped a lot of water to get this rain. It was intense.
Yeah, so beyond visually, Kurosawa also delves heavily into metaphor and hidden meanings. Rashomon, which is the name of the movie, is the name of an enormous like gatehouse, which was kind of the entryway point between two different cities in Japan. And pretty much a large portion of the story takes place at this gatehouse, and as the tales of this crime are being further and further distorted and conflicted, at the same time pieces of the gatehouse are being torn off and used for fire, so you kind of see like this like demolishing of
the story and also
and everything like that. It's great.
And the characters who are at this gatehouse, they're kind of the entryway into the story as well.
Yeah, they're like the audience's entryway into the story. And then
so there's multiple references.
Also, a great. It doesn't work that well in film often. Is that when characters break the fourth wall when they look directly at the camera? It works occasionally. Silence of the Lambs has some great breaking the fourth wall shots. If you guys haven't seen that,
I think Deadpool's also classic for doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we'll see.
Yeah. But in this one, the people who are recounting the crimes are pretty much, they're looking directly at the camera, making the viewer the judge and the jury for whether or not, which story was true. You gotta feel like it's up to the viewer to decide, because you're being told the story like directly.
Yeah. Well, it's said in the context of, you're kind of the courthouse, you're the judge, literally in the story. So they're literally talking to a judge, a nameless, voiceless judge, who's trying to, judge the crime, basically.
Yeah, you try and choose which account is most true. The film really asks the question about the nature of mankind, whether we lie to ourselves, and whether everything we do is kind of out of our own self-interest. Fantastic movie from 1950. 4 heavy reels out of 5 for Tim.
Oh yeah, definitely
a classic. This was awarded an honorary Academy Award, and it's often cited as the reason why the Academy came up with Best Foreign Film category.
Okay,
it's because of this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's not my last scene, but I'm going to agree with heavy 4 out of 5 reels. And also, I will mention, Kurosawa is a master of framing shots. You don't think about these shots anymore of when there's many characters in one shot, but even the scenes where the character is giving their testimony to the judge, there's 2 people in the background,
Yeah.
but it's like perfectly framed.
Yeah.
The way he spaces the actors.
At one point, there's 4 characters on screen. There's 2 in the foreground who are telling the story, and then there's the 2 other guys in the background, and they're never blocked. You can see them the whole time.
They're
and
still in focus.
They're
Or are they
pretty much in
just-
focus.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And-
It's
And the way his shots flow when they move, there's like a beginning, there's a shot, and then you go to another shot, and then you see someone there, and then it would shift, and then their placements would move. The blocking of the actors would change, but it would still be perfect.
Yeah.
And
Masterfully done.
he's a master. Honestly, you guys haven't seen Kurosawa's work. It's a good entry point, I guess.
Yeah.
Short movie.
Yeah, it's a brisk hour and 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Just how I like him,
Yeah.
short and sweet. I'm in for this puppy.
it's no Seven Samurai, that's for
You're gonna
sure.
let me borrow this thing. Possible preview.
Possibly.
Kurosawa.
Possibly.
Mhm.
You know, Kurosawa nugget there. But yeah, Adam, let's jump over to you. What was the last movie you saw?
Last and least. Let's hear it.
Last but not least.
Last but
Oh,
not
is that
least,
how it goes?
is how
Sorry.
it goes.
Delve into the memory banks for us, will you?
Again, he's not prepared. Oh, here we go.
Eureka! I've remembered
Rico.
Tim. Escape from New York.
Oh,
yes. Courtesy Tim.
Yeah.
Boom. I obtained the movie on my own with no help from anyone on this podcast.
Shout out to
Just
Tim.
kidding, Tim. Thank you.
I appreciate the hookup.
In 1997, when the U.S. president crashes into Manhattan,
I don't remember this happening.
now a giant maximum security prison, a convicted bank robber is sent in for a rescue. Fuck
Wow.
me, this movie's good. Written by Nick Castle and John Carpenter, directed by John Carpenter, starring Kurt Russell, Lee Van Cleef, Ernest Borgnine, Harry Dean Stanton, as well as a few other minor character actors. Right from the opening credits, I was in love with this movie. Like the score hit me right away. I was telling you guys, like the 80s synth score.
Yeah.
John Carpenter, famous for composing his own scores. I don't know if any other directors
Really?
have done that.
Yeah,
I didn't
he
know
does a lot
that.
of his
You
own
didn't know
scores,
that?
yeah.
That's amazing.
If you look at the opening credits, there's always
The
music
score in
by
The Thing is great, too.
Carpenter. Yeah, he did
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
He did Big Trouble in Little China score.
Master of all trades.
Yeah, like that's a very rare thing. So right from then, and it just right away, like I loved the opening credits with like, well, just to make sure, who's seen this movie here?
I've seen it. It's been a few years.
I saw it this
Scott
year.
has, Tim has.
I have not seen
Ty.
it.
No, that's
Should we even
recurring
ask
theme.
anymore? You just speak up when you have seen it.
Okay.
Yeah, just-
guys, I've seen this one. I've seen this one. Include me.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. No.
Kingsman. Yeah.
So
Can we
I
talk about
love
the Kingsman again, guys?
no, Scott, don't get him started. I loved
Did you guys know?
the diagram of like what New York has become right off the bat, where they're just showing you that like 3D, how New York's now just this like Alcatraz type thing, like the island of New York is
Yeah.
like, and it's like the Stephen Hawking type like digital voice thing.
Yeah.
They erected a 400-foot wall or whatever. Like that was awesome.
That was like a Tim's impression. Just you talking.
Tim's bits. Right there. You gotta give a little bit more effort in the robot.
They
sorry,
erected
guys.
a 400-foot wall.
There you go.
Yeah, so I was shocked because, like, this, from what I understand, this movie's an action movie. Like, from what I've ever seen it listed on, like, top 100 action movies, there's not a piece of violence, not a punch thrown until 35 minutes in. There's not a single gunshot until 45 minutes in.
I am immediately not interested.
Wow.
Yeah, so that counts out Switty. But nonetheless, did not bother me one bit. It was like all world building up until that point. You're following Snake Plissken, or Pliskin? Pliskin, Kurt Russell, who's sick in this movie, through,
Eye patch.
you know, I guess somewhat like Suicide Squad, to make a current reference. He's a criminal let out of jail to do a suicide mission to save the president, because obviously he's been kidnapped by like these like filthy underground criminals in what's left of New York.
Yeah.
So you're just following him through these like abandoned streets in New York City with just, you know, dystopian kind of future vibe, and the atmosphere is beautiful. Like, I'm a huge atmosphere guy. Like, to go to video games like BioShock, one of my favorite video games of all time. Just because I love the feeling like when you feel like this guy's doomed, he's alone in like the whole world's against him, right?
But how's the score and the cinematography? Because we know that.
Damn. Like I said, I was in love with the score. It like this movie plays like a zombie film because there's like the underground sewer dwelling hobo looking people in the New York.
Everything's really
prison.
Like desolate.
Yeah, so Kurt Russell's like kind of reminding me of I Am Legend. He's going through like deserted buildings and just seeing maybe one or two people and that like creepy, eerie scores in the background, synth score, and it was cool to see like I said with the world building. He comes across the Broadway show with just like these disgusting criminals like in the seats watching and like equally disgusting people like with makeup and dresses doing like a song and dance about New York. It was like one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen. Like everyone can't wait to come to New York, and they're all just like these vile like Mad
a little
Max.
ironic.
Yeah,
you know the
look
the
like
lyrics.
Mad Max people. Yeah, kind of the desertedness kind of reminded me of 28 Days Later actually.
Yeah.
Like with just the barren streets and whatnot, the cityscape.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Now, should we ask you a question, or should we bring this up? I don't know if you want this brought to the attention of viewers. You told me last week that you had accidentally seen Escape from Los Angeles first.
Oh shit!
And you're like, I don't get why people love this Escape movie. This thing was god awful. Because you saw the bad sequel.
Yeah.
First.
Escape from LA's.
Cards on the table now. Now you got to talk about it.
I was hoping no one would bring this up. Yeah. I've seen Escape from LA. I've tried to watch it a few times on TV. Eventually did watch it. And it's a turd. So I was like, what the hell is... Like, what? This is a classic? What is this? This is garbage.
Not alike at all.
Why is Kurt Russell surfing? This is like, this is bad. And so I come across Escape from New York. I'm like, hang on, what the hell? This isn't the same movie.
Yeah.
And so
wait,
like,
this is decent.
yeah, I looked into it and I'm like, okay, Escape from LA is the sequel. This all makes sense now. Did Carpenter do Escape from LA?
I don't know actually. I can't be sure on that.
Let's pray not.
Let's go with no.
Yeah, Escape from New York, amazing. Escape from LA is just like a bad ripoff.
Like Predator 2 or something.
Exactly the perfect way to put it. Ernest Borgnine was hilarious in this movie, in my opinion. He plays the cabbie driver. Snake Plissken gets into his cab at some point, and he's like, Snake Plissken in my cab, one of the greatest criminals of all time. You know, Snake, you shouldn't be in this part of town. Bad part of town. Whole time he's talking to him, he's preparing a cocktail bomb, just like stuffing a gasoline-filled bottle with a handkerchief and lighting it up. Yeah, really bad part of town. Leans out the window, just chucks it and blows up like a gang of criminals.
That was pretty jokes.
I was in tears at that part. And it just made me think, like, it's awesome how he's going through and meeting these, like, shady, interesting characters all through this, like, seedy underbelly of New York, and they're all, like, worshipping him, like, oh my god, you're Snake Plissken. And I love, like, the lack of origin. Like, that's something older movies had.
I love it.
Yeah, he's just, like, this guy that just shows up, has a story that everyone else is aware of, but we're, like, kind of left out of.
But the viewers.
Yeah,
the viewer has to
great.
make up the story
He's just, like, this mystery
But it's not annoying.
No.
It doesn't feel lazy. You feel like they fully know his story.
Yeah.
Like, there is a story.
It makes you think, like this guy's walking around. He's got an eye patch. The guy must have seen some shit. Like
That's exactly right.
How many incidents do you get into where you lose an eye?
It's Darth Vader.
He saw a little bit more shit before that.
Yeah,
that's my
now he sees like half that.
Now
shit.
he only sees half.
Give or take.
Yeah. Oh god. Wow.
That was horrible. I tried. Okay.
I really enjoyed that.
No, yeah, but like my prototype for that is Darth Vader, just like instantly a presence on screen.
Oh yeah.
We don't need to know why he's in that Darth Vader suit.
You get that, George Lucas?
Yeah.
We don't need
we didn't
to know.
need like a prequel or anything.
Yeah, like we don't need a prequel explaining.
We don't need 3 movies.
Yeah, get ready for episodes 10, 11,
explaining
and 12.
how he used to be a whiny little bitch kid.
We didn't need Escape from the Womb.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adam, how would you rate this movie? Let's be honest. Let's get to the rating here.
Well, before that, fuck you. I have one more thing to say.
Oh.
There's actually 2 things. Super annoying. Do you guys remember the troll doll guy?
Oh, he had a troll doll?
He comes out with the president's finger, and he's like, you have 30 seconds to fly off this island or the president dies. And they're like, we're not leaving. He's like 29, 28. And they're like, are you kidding? We don't negotiate. He's like 20, 19, 8. They're like, let's go. And he like rounds up the soldiers and they fly away. He has like troll hair. He looks like a human troll doll. Hated him. Hated Snake Plissken's cobra tattoo on his stomach. Like,
really?
So lame. It looked like a question mark. Like, what the hell is this? And it looked like it was like drawn on.
It's
with
a snake,
marker.
man. He's Snake Plissken.
It's original.
Terrible. No, but overall, love the movie. Like I said, please, directors, go back to the 70s and 80s. Stop explaining away every little detail about characters.
Just so you know, the second one was John Carpenter.
Really?
Yeah.
John Carpenter.
What happened?
Yeah.
Hit and miss, I guess.
I don't know. He's kind of overrated. Like, I've now seen his Apocalypse trilogy of The Thing, Escape from New York, and Big Trouble Little China. And hated Big Trouble Little China. Don't understand the cult love.
Really?
Scott's looking at me like I have 3 heads.
I mean, it is what it is. There's some pretty atrocious scenes in it, but I thought it was campy and fun. I had a good time, but...
No. Wrong.
Wow.
Escape from New York, awesome. The Thing, masterpiece. One of my favorite horror films of all time.
Yeah.
The original.
Sorry.
Not the remake.
So you guys saw me the one without Mary Elizabeth Winstead, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
The one with Kurt Russell and Kurt Russell's hair.
God, I love Kurt Russell's hair.
Yeah, so do I.
It's
So
pretty glorious.
overall, I gotta give this thing a light 4 real.
Light 4 reels.
Boom.
Okay.
Liked it a lot.
But yeah, let's move into the main review this week. Straight Outta Compton. Came out last week. We saw it separate times. But yeah, directed by F. Gary Gray, starring O'Shea Jackson Jr., son of Ice Cube, Corey Hawkins, Jason Mitchell, Paul Giamatti, Aldous Hodge, and Neil Brown rounded out the cast. So yeah, what do we think of Straight Outta Compton? Basically, the story of the rise and fall of NWA in the late '80s, early '90s. Yeah, what do we think of this movie? Let's start off. Anyone want to start us off?
I can jump in.
Adam.
Do it up, Adam.
So I had 0 interest in this movie. I don't like biopics. I find them all hit the same beats.
Cookie cutter kind of.
Yeah, cookie cutter. Perfect word. Thank you. Like, just kind of boring, like a drag. I don't know. For some reason, they just don't do it for me. And so I went into this movie expecting nothing, and I was pleasantly surprised. It hit me right out off the bat with like energy, heart, soul. I loved this movie. I'm not even familiar with F. Gary Gray.
Italian Job.
Italian Job.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is that all?
That's probably the biggest movie he's done, yeah.
Really?
The
That's a
remake.
strange fit, almost.
Right.
Not the 1969.
Italian Job to Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He's done a couple of other things in between.
Well, 13-year-old Adam loves Italian Job. I don't know what present-day Adam thinks. I haven't seen it since.
Amazing
But,
movie.
yeah, no, I love this movie. The casting blew me away. I thought that Eazy-E actor?
Yeah, that was Jason Mitchell.
Jason Mitchell was fantastic. Reminded me a lot of Eazy-E. More importantly, it was just turned in a fantastic performance.
Yeah.
O'Shea Jackson Jr.?
Yeah.
Holy shit. It's like seeing double. He is Ice Cube's spitting image.
He's his father's son.
He's his father's son. And he can actually act.
Yeah.
For literally, may as well be a guy off the street.
Yeah.
He's not an actor.
That's what I loved about this movie. Usually with biopics, you kind of either get actors that don't really look the part, but are really good actors, or you get someone who looks identical, but they have no acting chops. with the three main leads in this, with Eazy-E, Dr. Dre, and Ice Cube, you get actors that look very similar to the real life people, as well as some awesome performances from those three guys.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
I mean, O'Shea Jackson obviously had a good mentor in his father.
Yeah.
I mean, to
For
play him.
sure.
I mean, he's got a strong... His dad's made some great movies, so he's got a strong...
Yeah.
No, a strong base. But yeah, Jason Mitchell, he could have been Eazy-E's long lost son. Because literally, he looked the exact same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like literally splitting image.
And the cadence and just like the mannerisms and oh my god, the casting like blew me away.
Corey Hawkins had a slight resemblance to Dr. Dre. Could have been Dre's cousin.
I see it.
Yeah.
You know, you can see
It wasn't
in the
exact,
face, but like
It's there, but more importantly, he was fantastic.
Yeah, he did definitely.
I have a
turned in
feeling
good
like
performance.
Jason Mitchell and Corey Hawkins are gonna blow up. They were amazing.
O'Shea Jackson,
Jr.
we'll see.
I feel like he was just good at playing his father, which he was great. But I don't know if he has range. Like
Maybe a one-trick pony. We'll see if he can. If he
I don't
can
even know
do.
if he wants to act in anything else. But.
And Paul Giamatti isn't the Rhino in this movie, so it's great.
God.
I am Rhino.
Come here, little spider. I don't know what that was.
Wow.
I was like,
Little Tim's
bits.
bits. Tim's
Nice.
Tim's Russian bits.
but yeah, Giamatti played Jerry Heller, who was their early manager. He signed them pretty early on, NWA. So he was great in it. He didn't go over the top. Yeah. He actually turned in a pretty good performance.
We all know he can go over the top.
Yeah.
he can. But yeah,
Thank you, Eazy-E!
he was good and wow.
I'm just happy he didn't carry over the Rhino into this.
And we're all glad.
Yeah.
And the other characters that rounded out the cast were good. None of them really took me out.
Suge
the
Knight
one
was good.
Name pops up.
Yeah, he was definitely good. Intimidating.
Equally terrifying.
Horribly
Real Suge
intimidating.
Knight.
Yeah, seriously.
You get the most uncanny Tupac impersonator I've ever
I was
seen.
waiting for someone so
I
crazy.
looked him up to see if he's done other things. I assume he's played Tupac in other things. No, this is his first credit.
Okay, that freaked me
Yeah.
out.
Incredible.
I did read that the actor who portrayed him didn't voice him. Someone else voiced him.
Really?
Okay.
Really?
Well, his character's kind
a
of stay in
sound
the
booth.
shadows in the sound booth the whole
Yeah.
time. I could see that.
But
So-
he looked, I was like, oh my god, he is still alive.
Spoiler alert: Tupac shows up in this movie.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
I mean, you got to imagine.
You-
what
you-
happened.
yeah.
While
do
we're
it.
talking cameos, should we talk about how did you guys feel about Snoop Dogg?
I didn't know it was Snoop Dogg until like they actually said this is Snoop Dogg. Like I didn't see any sort of like I couldn't tell it was him until they
Resemblance.
said it.
Yeah, zero resemblance and not much of because Snoop Dogg's voice is pretty distinct.
Yeah.
Like not even like his rapping voice, like his speaking voice is pretty distinct.
And
He's
his
got some
face.
guy,
Snoop Dogg's face.
yeah.
Like, you know it's Snoop Dogg.
Like,
You
a
just
very, like, long
automatically.
face.
If you saw Snoop Dogg at age 14, you
Yeah.
would be able to tell
Yeah.
that is
I
Snoop
didn't.
Dogg.
I didn't see that.
But the actor who
But that's a
portrayed him-
minor critique.
minor nitpick.
Sure.
Yeah.
I thought he was fucking terrible. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I knew the beat, so I'm like, oh, here comes Snoop, and I knew like Death Row and everything.
Yeah.
And then this guy walks in, and I'm like, what?
Wait,
Okay,
who's that?
they threw a fastball. Snoop's not in the scene. And then he starts doing, like, literally, like, Tim's Bits Snoop impression. I'm like, what the hell is this?
D-O-double-G.
I'd rather see Tim. Thank you, Tim. It was like that. And John Campea, I gotta call you out, of Collider Movie Talk. He said it was a great impression.
Yeah, he did too.
What the hell? You're my idol, man, but that was garbage.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Less than stellar.
I'm taking on other podcasts here. Let's go, boys. Like NWA
I
style.
don't think we're in any position to make enemies right now. I don't-
No. Fuck them.
But yeah,
Jesus.
wow. We want to say some pros. What did we like most about this movie? We obviously liked the performances. Tyler?
I would like to say that I went into this movie knowing nothing about NWA. Like
Yeah.
I knew all the members. Like
Ice Cube,
separately,
Dr. Dre,
like I knew they had connections. I knew they had worked together. I didn't know
Beats by Dre,
exactly. I didn't know anything
Literally.
about them.
Friday.
So yeah, nothing. You keep-
Are we there yet? Triple X,
Are we
State
done
of
yet?
the Union.
21 Jump Street?
That was actually...
22.
Yeah, he was
Jump
amazing.
Street,
Ice Cube was great in that.
Anyways,
Ghosts of Mars, John Carpenter tie-in. Boom! Ooh!
I digress. There was it was just a very informative movie because I went into this like I'd never heard of Easy. Like that's how out of the loop. I am.
Damn.
I'd never heard of him. So like this was just not only just entertaining but it was informative as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely teaches a lot about what was happening in the early 90s in the West Coast hip-hop scene, for sure.
If you're not in the know, I feel like it like definitely would put you up to speed on how much they contributed to hip-hop and their legacy.
For sure.
Like my mom, like obviously wasn't in the know, and she like knows everything about them now and realizes that they were laid a foundation of hip-hop to be built off of.
For sure.
Excuse me.
And I mean, the amount of, collaborators and artists that Dr. Dre, in his solo career, moving forward, mentored, like, Eminem, and, like, he collaborated with Tupac, and, like, 50 Cent.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And Snoop Dogg, of course.
Dogg.
Yeah.
I mean...
Dr. Dre, I think, has the most impressive resume of, like, birthed careers.
Yeah.
So influential in getting these huge artists' careers off their feet, and off the ground, and... Yeah, you can really see how important they are.
Yeah, you see the beginnings of that. Like, he's kind of like the coach to the NWA, right? Like, he's the producer that gets them all started and amped up about it. He's the one gets Eazy-E into the recording booth for the first time, and then Eazy-E's like not hitting the beat properly. And
we have to talk about that scene. That was hilarious.
It's a great scene.
Laugh out loud moment.
Eazy-E's like sitting in the chair. He's like, I don't want to do this. I'm the boss. I don't rap. And then they finally convince him to get in the booth, and it's bad.
Yeah.
God awful.
It's just totally offbeat and brutal, but it made for a pretty comedic scene. Eventually, he hits the notes.
He finds his
voice,
and then it just takes
all
off.
from Dr. Dre's coaching, right?
Yeah.
Like,
you saw that.
And I believe he kicked everyone out. Who kicked everyone out? Eazy-E?
Eazy-E kicked everyone out.
Right. And then him and Dre have the one-on-one, and like, there's a famous conversation. I'm like the hip-hop aficionado of the podcast. There's a huge conversation in hip-hop between, there's producers and then there's beat makers. There's the guys who just literally, they'll make a beat on like the MPC, email it to the rapper,
and then they just rap over it.
Or just selling beats.
There's no collaboration.
But then there's a producer, like a Dr. Dre, or like a Quincy Jones, like a Kanye West. They come in.
Who is a beat maker, but a lot more.
Yeah, they come into the studio, and not only do they make the beat, they tell you, like a Pharrell Williams, they tell you the cadence of which to rap over the beat. That they're gonna like coach you to get like the best performance out of you. They're very hands-on. That makes for like,
because they have in their mind also what would sound best over that beat as well.
Yeah, for sure. Like, exactly.
It's not just a separate thing.
But you notice everyone I named, like Kanye West, Pharrell Williams, these guys are all like 10 to 15 years after Dr. Dre. He was the godfather of like
producing
rap. Hip hop producing, like real hands-on producing.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie obviously shows you that, right?
And I like the history that it showed, because the songs that they played some like Parliament, like funk songs, which had influence on Dre's producing of like created. It was called G-Funk, was that style with kind of the piano and like just that really funky beat in a lot of his tracks, like on the Chronic and also some MWA stuff. But yeah, that was kind of, I love, they played Parliament songs, which you guys didn't know, from 70s funk, classic artists who had their own P-Funk, so you can even see the similarities there. But I like that kind of nod to Parliament, the inspiration for a lot of Dre's later producing, in showing they played 2 Parliament songs during 2 different scenes, and I noticed that, and I like seeing those references.
That reminds me, like the sound mixing I thought was great. Just like the way they used music in the movie, like when Dre's laying on the ground listening to the headphones and listening to that song. Was that Parliament?
Just a beautiful shot.
I think it might have been. I'm not sure. The opening track was
just the way he's like vibing out, and just the way the sound design was, just that music, especially in the theater, it was awesome. Like I found myself bobbing my head to like half the movie. It felt almost like a concert.
I love the visual effect of that scene where he's just sitting there listening to music. You can tell he's in like his own personal paradise, and you see just scattered records behind, laying on a scattered back of records. It was just a gorgeous shot.
Beautifully.
As nice of a shot that was, that is probably one of my gripes about this movie, was the way they opened up each character. It was so cliche. Like Eazy-E opens up, he's like in the hood, like it's like rough situation, like, you know, his door gets knocked down by police. It's like, okay.
You gotta remember this is a biopic, though, so I don't know how accurate this was, but that could have actually happened.
I know, but just the way they set it up, because... And then Dre, it's like idyllic, like, oh, he's like, look at all the records strewn over the floor. He's like, you know, the producer of like Heaven. It's like amazing. This is where he starts out. He's like listening to all these amazing vinyl records.
So Scott clearly not a fan of vinyl records.
And then Ice Cube, it starts out and he's like writing in his journal, like writing down beats. Like, I don't know. It was just so. Too obvious. It was too obvious. I
don't think that's what they really did.
It defined their characters, I think.
In real life, though? Like, I've seen pictures of Dr. Dre in his garage from that time period, and he does have crates of vinyls. Yeah. He has, like, turntables.
I believe it. I don't know. It just... I didn't love the way they started.
It was like too,
but
like,
I understand
on the
why.
nose for each character?
Yeah. I understand why, because it was setting it up, but I feel like it could have been... Yeah, it could have been less on the nose.
Yeah, okay. I guess, that is fair.
It's like really knocking it home. Like, this guy loves music. Just look at all these records.
Yeah, but that's to me and you because we know about NWA. To someone like Tyler or like my mom.
Yeah, I guess that's for like a layman's
literally
kind of explanation. Yeah.
Like the parents and Tyler.
Hey, thank you for comparing me to your mom. Thank you.
Absolutely nothing.
You did mention a minute ago, though.
Thank you.
You mentioned a minute ago, Adam.
Yeah.
When you're in the theater, it was like a concert. I got that feeling too because we watched it together. The theater was packed.
It was like a party.
Yeah, it was like a Tuesday night packed theater, and it was that crowd in that theater was pretty hyped for this movie. So
this movie
added to the experience.
This movie is blowing up at the box office.
Oh shit!
It's doing very well.
140 million.
Huge. Part of it, I think, is because it touches on a lot of themes that we're seeing in the U.S. still, like. There's news stories still. Like a big part of the movie is the Rodney King,
huge
beating,
huge to the in the applause
and ruling and
everything. That's still like an issue that's happening today. So it's just a really like prolific movie. It touches on a lot of themes and it brings up a lot of themes that are still important to
like race issues in the States for sure. Huge
in the States, yeah, exactly. So I think that's why the movie is it's appealing because it's so
to a wide audience
of the time, really.
It's not just about rap artists getting fame. It's a little deeper than that, and I did like that aspect for sure. Like the whole F the police part. The scenes where they're, I think it was in Detroit. It was a famous concert they were at where they got like arrested basically for playing that song because they didn't want them NWA to play, you know, F the police, and
they did it anyway.
They did it anyways, and I don't know. That was a really great scene for me. I really enjoyed that. How they're just like giving the middle finger to the cops.
Speaking of the box office, like incredible 3 weeks in a row at number 1. Yeah, like that's insane.
There's not much to compete right now, but still,
I think there is. Man from U.N.C.L.E.,
which did very well.
It beat out Fantastic Four.
Man from U.N.C.L.E. was seen by a number of people. There's us four, and then probably the 52 people who reviewed that episode that we did on it.
Yeah,
they probably saw it. That's probably about it.
I think
seriously.
Yeah,
a limited number of people saw that.
We some of them were in the theater with us. I think
probably yeah.
But no, just like there's a taboo in Hollywood. You know that they say the studios they don't want like they say black casts don't get the biggest box office return. Well, kind of meta side to it, the way NWA broke down those barriers in music, they're now breaking it down in film.
Seriously, yeah.
All black cast, box office gone skyrocketed through the roof. Mm-hmm. So hopefully this taboo will be like put to rest now, right?
Yeah.
Not to mention like Force Awakens, biggest movie ever, starring a black guy. So that's amazing.
Yeah, that is. Do we have maybe a Green Lantern Jon Stewart in the cast here maybe in the future?
We might have
Green Lantern Corps. There's some potential there.
If they just recast NWA as the new Green Lantern.
They're the Green Lantern Corps. Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E,
Lanterns
all on Oa in green suits. I'd pay to see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, any kind of negatives we want to talk about? Anything we did?
One thing I could kind of see would maybe I could kind of see the movie maybe candy coating. Kind of there behind the scenes, because these guys are very likable in this movie, and even when they fall apart from a group, you still kind of like each member individually.
Disclaimer for the listeners. Ice Cube and Dr. Dre executive produced this movie.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly.
Whoever wins the war writes the history. I don't know.
So like some people come off a little bit better than others, but I'm sure they all had their terrible moments. I mean, any group and like any musician group or anything are going to do some pretty terrible
heinous things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed they touched on the Beats by Dre, like the headphones. But they left out a really big beating by Dre on a woman.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's one of the big things that they don't touch on that at all.
Yeah. D. Barnes, the journalist that he attempted to murder with his bare hands, allegedly, I guess. I don't know if that's proven by now.
In the court of law, I'm not sure.
She went on a Twitter rant saying, I thought they would have sugarcoated it, but I'm astonished to see they didn't even
acknowledge it.
Especially because, not so fun fact, Gary F. Gray, is it?
Gray.
Gary F. Gray.
F. Gary Gray,
Gary Gray, the director of the film, happened to film the interview that got her attacked by Dr. Dre.
Wow.
Interesting.
And then that man just happened to not put this in the movie.
Coincidence? I think not.
Methinks not.
No.
I think Dr. Dre actually did settle off with her and paid her like millions just to kind of go away.
Yeah, also MC Ren, who was also a member of NWA, along with DJ Yella.
Yeah, you don't even get that.
They were the
they were there the whole time.
They weren't executive producers on the film. Surprise! So
you don't say.
I mean, they didn't quite get the same treatment as the big three: Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E. So I mean, MC Ren was a pretty good lyricist in his own right in hip hop. So he didn't get much of the spotlight in the movie, and DJ Yella was basically a joke in this movie. No screen time at all. He was kind of like comedic, nothing really going on with his character. Didn't really explain any backstories of either of those characters. Just kind of threw them in. But I know MC Ren wasn't too happy about originally before he saw the movie about his portrayal, like getting like no credit at all. But I think after the movie came out, once he saw the movie, he didn't mind it as much. Like he actually enjoyed it. So, I didn't really like how there was so much focus on the big three and not the others. But credit where credit's due. They were the big three for a reason.
Yeah.
So, I guess I can understand why.
What I want to say, sort of spoiler. I don't know if there can be too much spoilers on like a biopic.
Yeah.
Do we want to give this a rating and then maybe
let's do that?
Spoilers? Yeah.
Adam, you want to start us off with your rating for Straight Outta Compton?
I'm going to give it a light 4 out of 5 reels.
Light 4?
Just super pleasantly surprised. Just was totally shocked. I didn't expect anything from it. I just thought it was great. Probably the best casting I've ever seen in a biopic.
Yeah, definitely spot on.
Pretty much.
I'm going to say heavy 3 out of 5 reels. Okay. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Definitely would recommend it.
I'll give it a light 4 out of 5 reels. I'm with Adam on this one. I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't really have any interest in this, really. I only saw it because we had the podcast going, and pretty much within the first 20 minutes, I was like hooked. I was like, okay, I'm in.
Exactly.
It pulls you in for sure.
Me and Tim agreeing.
Well, I kind of felt that I had to see it because I knew nothing about it. So it's just like, well, you kind of have to see this. Yeah. So I'm going to stick with Mr. Franey here and give it a light 4.
Nice.
Light 4 to 5
because it was
reels.
Again, it was very informative. It taught me a lot about their rise.
Yeah, definitely. I knew about NWA a lot, but again, same with you. Like I still learned things in this movie. So even if you're a fan of hip hop, it's definitely a good movie to see. So let's get into our spoiler section then for Straight Outta Compton. Adam, you had a point you wanted to make earlier.
Well, I was going to say, the way the movie ends, final scene, Dr. Dre starting Aftermath. Tim, thumbs down for that?
Oh, I didn't think it was a good... I didn't think it was like a strong ending.
I thought it was like a horrible segue.
Did you know, what... was that relevant for you? Do you even know Aftermath? Do you know what that meant?
Yeah, kind of.
Because I feel like a lot of people didn't. People that know nothing, like my parents or something.
I know a little bit. It didn't seem like a really strong, poignant ending to me though at all.
I can see. I knew Aftermath.
Enlighten me.
you
If it
asshole.
was something that I missed, then I would love to hear this.
Yeah.
No, it's just because, like, what I was going to say, it's just, I'm torn because I understand it's the story of NWA. That makes sense because that's where it ended. But, like, Dr. Dre has such a long career. Like, Aftermath is where it all started. That's Eminem. You know, after that point is, like, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, 50 Cent. Even now today, like, 30 years later almost, Kendrick Lamar. Just, like, I don't know. It's just a drag that we didn't get to see his entire legacy.
But I have a feeling that wasn't just an epilogue. That was a setup
The beginning. Yeah.
for another movie.
A sequel?
Don't you think that would make an amazing,
Yeah, I do.
idea for a movie?
For sure.
Aftermath.
Would we follow just Dr. Dre, or can we see like Ice Cube
Maybe get someone who
delve into acting?
actually looks like Snoop Dogg
No,
to play Snoop Dogg.
recast Snoop
Get
Dogg, please.
Eminem, maybe Tupac Biggie feud in there.
I want to see Ice Cube going to casting calls for like all the movies he's done. That'd be great.
Oh,
Yeah,
He'd be like the
seriously.
comedic like light point of the movie.
you want to see him doing his audition 12 times of him like tilting his head and like snarling?
No, but yeah, it'd be
Really?
cool. It'd be really cool to see like Eminem pop up on screen and all those other infamous guys.
Now,
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I did read a report from TMZ that they are
Incredible source.
planning a sequel to this movie.
I've heard they're playing a Death Row Records movie,
Yeah.
or film about like them setting up that.
Well, it's weird because the headline
Like Tupac Biggie feud?
No,
Or-
the headline was Straight Outta Compton sequel, and then they went into it saying like Dr. Dre's son is gonna take over the role of his character. So now that we talk about it, I'm thinking maybe it's just a whole different movie.
Yeah, that
Because
sounds
like Dr.
good.
Dre's son looks just like him. I don't know if you guys have seen him, but apparently he like would play young Dr. Dre, and then like Tupac. It would focus on Tupac and Snoop Dogg more or something.
Do you know how old he is? His Dr. Dre's son?
He looks about 30, I'd say.
So his son saw Straight Outta Compton, was like, why didn't I get
But
in
why
this
was I
movie?
not
Yeah.
in this movie? I was like, why
Why
they
did Ice
pick
Cube's
him?
son get into this and not
Yeah,
me?
I can't. If he can act, I wish he was because he looks just like him. The other guy doesn't look like him, but he was a great actor, so it doesn't really matter. But I don't know. I'd like to see it, but then I wonder like, there's way more drama in NWA's story than there is like the Aftermath story.
Right.
There's no drama in like Eminem was a platinum selling artist. 50 Cent was a platinum selling artist. Kendrick Lamar was a platinum selling artist. The Game platinum selling. Like it's just like rainbows and butterflies.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any like. I think the Tupac Biggie feud, that would be really interesting
Yeah, if they could
to see
yeah.
that play out in film.
Did Dr. Dre
because
play a
They
part?
did
in
that. They did a big movie like a couple years ago. That
it is, I mean,
Notorious.
it's sort
Yeah,
of
did not do well.
tangentially related to Straight Outta Compton
Yeah,
because it would just be interesting if it was like set in the same
universe.
cinematic universe, and had like the same
Marketing-wise-
actors.
Marketing wise, you'd think this movie's made a shit ton of money. They're gonna want to connect it to this movie.
Definitely.
They're gonna have to connect it, but different director, all new cast. Like to me, that's not the same thing. Like, I don't care really.
I mean, if they had like appearances by Corey Hawkins, who's
Yeah,
Dr.
Corey
Dre.
Hawkins was continuing the role of Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
I'm all in.
Yeah, like that's where I think they would probably go in this case, but we'll
would've
see with
thought- I
that
hope
that
Jamesie's
report.
wrong. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I hope so too. But yeah, keeping on the topic of spoilers, definitely spoilery. I mean, it did happen in real life many years ago, so it's not really that
Spoiler alert.
spoilery.
For life.
But Eazy-E, his kind of downfall and towards his death, Jason Mitchell actually was gave a really good performance as Eazy-E and kind of the end of days for him.
Yeah.
After he got AIDS and HIV, was diagnosed with that,
I was shaken.
and then his final kind of days and moments.
As soon as that first time that he coughed, I was like, oh, I didn't know Eazy-E died. I had no
Oh really?
idea. Yeah.
Oh what? Really?
Yeah. Clueless.
Okay.
So as soon as he coughed, I was like, fuck, does Eazy die? Because I loved this character. I was like, oh, fuck, this guy's not going to make it.
That cough.
And he
that's
coughed the
bad
second time. I
news.
was like,
That's it.
he's done.
Cough
So
twice,
this
he's
This guy's
dead.
going down.
Did it
Yeah.
get a little misty-eyed?
Yeah, a little misty-eyed.
It got a little glossy in my theater. Eyes were a little glossy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No tears shed. Come on, guys. But
Yeah, I thought
Little
he was
water.
great in it, and it just made me want to see him more, for sure.
true,
because-
like when he's in that hospital bed, absolute heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
Like, just, yeah.
And when he
heart-wrenching.
finds out that he has HIV,
Yeah.
but when he finds out he's positive, he's like, "No, doc, like check again." Like, it's
Yeah,
not,
the come on, man.
We did it 5 times.
Come on.
It was
Great.
heart-wrenching.
Exactly. Heart-wrenching is just the key word, I think.
Do you guys think this would be any Oscar buzz for this movie?
Honestly, I was thinking about that. I'm happy you asked. I'm hoping. I realistically don't know because there's so much to come out
There's
still.
a lot coming out.
But with this like between 5 and 10 rule, where they can go up to 10 movies if they so choose.
It could be a 10.
Yeah.
The 10th movie.
And like this is a summer film. They say the summer films get forgotten, but Boyhood last summer got nominated for the most Oscars, I think.
I think this movie might get DiCaprio'd.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Think so?
Yeah.
I'm feeling it would be a nice kind of nod if it did get nominated. I'm assuming we're all thinking Best Picture
I'm
for
thinking
nominations.
Best Picture. Maybe Mitchell for Best Actor, depending on what's...
You probably get a best
Probably
supporting.
supporting.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, it's Dre's
no
story.
one
Is
character
the
really
one,
was
yeah.
the lead in that. It was
That's
kind
fair,
of,
yeah.
it was a group sort of effort.
Depends on the kind... Like, it's just so hard to say. We don't know. There could be no good performances for the rest of the year other than Leo.
Yeah, it's just too early to tell. We're not into Oscar
Too
season
early.
yet.
Guys,
Yeah.
Johnny Depp is coming out with a new movie. I
Black
feel like
Hole.
it's going to be up there, okay?
Other than Johnny Depp and Leo D,
Yeah.
I could see a Best Picture nomination for sure, just because there's more chances with possibly going to 10 films. But the acting is so tough because there's only 5 slots, right?
Yeah.
So let's hope so. Let's cross our fingers.
But yeah, I think we all enjoyed Straight Outta Compton overall. Definitely
Really?
recommend it. If you guys haven't seen it yet, definitely go out and see
Rush
it.
out
Yeah.
and see it.
It's worth a watch
we
and
really-
informative as well.
Yeah.
Definitely. And yeah. So let's move on into some of our news topics this week. First up, keeping it consistent here. We're tying it in. Tie-ins
Ooh.
here. Skull Island has added a new cast member, and that is the one and only Eazy-E, Jason Mitchell from Straight Outta Compton. And also, it was announced earlier, I'm not sure when because I didn't catch this news. Corey Hawkins is also in it, the actor who played Dr. Dre. In Skull Island, if you guys don't know, it's sort of a prequel. I'm not sure it's a prequel to King Kong, but it's set on Skull Island, and we don't know a whole lot of information about this movie.
Hold
so
on,
far.
you said the actors who played Eazy-E and Dr. Dre are in this movie now?
They are in Skull Island.
Huh.
Also starring Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson, Toby Kebbell, who played Dr. Doom in Fantastic Four,
Jack Black.
Loving it.
Brie Larson.
Is Jack Black in this?
Jack Black is not in this movie.
Ah!
And John C. Reilly is also in the cast.
It's a great cast.
So
Yeah.
They
That's
took
what-
out
cast.
Jack Black and they added John
I know
C.
it's
Reilly.
pretty sad when they cut out the two actors. Wow, I'm blanking right now. Michael Keaton and Whiplash.
Simmons?
J.K. Simmons, yes. They two, straight out of their Oscar buzz from
Yeah.
last year,
That would have had me
were
hyped.
cast in Skull Island, and they left the production, and that made me kind of sad. But I'm not sure who they were replaced by. If it was Samuel L. Jackson, and I'm not sure if it was John C. Reilly's character, if it was those two. That sounds about right, age-wise.
Yeah.
That's probably it. But does this make you guys a little bit more excited about Skull Island? I mean, we don't know much about it, but getting these two great young actors from Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah, this makes me a little bit more excited. I mean, Skull Island is it's here and there. Like we've seen some recent redoing of monster picks, and they haven't really been the best. Like Godzilla was just okay, but with these two great actors from Straight Outta Compton in this,
Tom Hiddleston.
I'd give it a shot. Plus, Tom Hiddleston's always great. You can't go wrong with him.
Brie Larson.
Brie Larson's fantastic.
She's great in
She
everything.
does.
Yeah.
Samuel L. is
He's hit and miss.
hit and miss. Hopefully it's a hit here.
Yeah.
And Toby Kebbell usually is good, although as Dr. Doom.
He does mocap in this movie.
Well, what have we seen him in? We've seen him as Koba.
Yeah. For me, I've only really seen him as Koba, and I really
He's
enjoyed
in
that
Rock and Rolla.
performance.
Well, you've
He's
seen
really
him as
good in
Doctor
that.
Doom.
And Dr. Doom.
He was shit in that.
Yeah. But
Well, his character was shit in that.
No.
Well, actually, you
he
know
was-
what? I can't blame.
You can't blame him for
I
that.
can't blame anyone
The movie was just shit in general.
other than Josh Trank and
Yeah.
Fox. I cannot blame Miles
I
Teller.
blame Fox solely.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
even. Yeah, I don't even know if I blame Josh Trank.
Yeah.
he was in
like
Wrath of Titans. I don't know if you remember that. Toby Kebbell was in that.
Oh, I would never see that, Scott.
He played.
Oh shit! He played the son, the Prometheus, or not Prometheus.
Poseidon.
Sorry, Poseidon's son.
Yeah, he did. Long hair.
Man,
and
why do
that.
you guys let me on this podcast?
You've seen that.
So you've seen Wrath of the Titans.
Of course. You can be
Or
sure
Clash of
that the
Titans.
worst movie on the podcast we bring up, you've seen.
Oh, what is wrong with me?
Classic.
Okay.
But yeah, actually, in regards to Jason Mitchell's character, I did read that he was playing a like kind of like happy-go-lucky like pilot. Playing
Oh, so maybe like a very different role.
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool.
It
So-
looks different in like reality, completely different from Easy.
Yeah.
Just in the picture that
He's
came
not
with the
wearing
story,
a Boston White Sox hat.
No,
and,
like,
Jerry curl.
he's got glasses, obviously, shaved head. He just looks like just a completely different guy.
Yeah.
So I'm sure.
We'll get like a true feel of what his acting range is.
Yeah.
I love the cast, but I don't know how I feel about the movie because
Yeah.
I like the director. He did a little indie film called Kings of Summer. I'm blanking on his name.
Ooh.
Do we know
Might have to
anything?
go into the memory banks for that.
I might search through the memory banks later, but yeah, great indie film, Kings of Summer. The head writer, Dan Gilroy, wrote and directed Nightcrawler, one of my favorite films of last year.
Oh, yeah.
That
That gives me a little hope.
Yeah, but another one of the writers wrote Jurassic World, so
Well,
that's rough.
I mean, that
Script's
definitely...
not the strong point of that movie.
From a, box office standpoint and from a, from that point of view, it's a smart move.
Everyone from that movie's getting hired off the box office.
Yeah.
Colin Trevorrow, anyone?
I'll have you guys know that when we went to see Straight Outta Compton, there was a Man from U.N.C.L.E. poster that was there when we went to see Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Right.
And when we went to see Straight Outta Compton, that had been replaced with a Jurassic World poster that said "Back by popular demand."
Oh,
Really?
Jurassic
my.
World is now back in theaters, and it was replaced the Man from U.N.C.L.E. poster.
Wow.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Fun fact for
Rude.
viewers: Iron Giant is coming back to theaters as well. The
Like
very
one day?
underrated 1990s.
Like a re-release in
Yeah,
theaters.
yeah.
Vin Diesel's
Blu-ray.
best role.
Yeah.
That movie bombed when it first came out, but holy shit, check out that anime movie when that comes back.
Narrowly over Guardians of the Galaxy. He played another.
Yeah.
They're
Good.
arguable.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Skull, I mean, do you guys like the original King Kong? Because with
The
Peter
original?
Jackson,
Okay.
the Peter Jackson King Kong,
The remake.
I actually like this Skull Island aspect of that movie. That movie did drag for sure for me in the beginning,
Definitely.
It had good moments.
but I
and
did
bad.
like a lot of the Skull Island parts, so it does kind of make me excited to go back.
In my opinion, the Skull Island parts were the best part of the movie. I think.
Yeah, seeing the tribes there and
Yeah, actually, you know what? I agree with you.
Yeah, once they
sure.
went back to
The city.
to the city, it was just like, it's just like we've seen this,
Yeah.
Like,
Cookie
not that we
cutter.
had, not that we haven't seen, island scary monsters, but like back to the city, it was just like, blech.
and like Kong versus like the dinosaur parts and like
Yeah,
that was
I love
great
that.
seeing the big monsters, and I think that's what we're gonna see.
yeah.
And maybe we'll see some more big gorillas
Mm-hmm.
in this. See some Kong relatives.
Now, what do you think of the chances? I don't remember the studio that owns these. Is it Paramount that owns
Universal-
Godzilla and King of
I'm not sure if it's Paramount or
King Kong?
Universal.
Sorry. Well, they both, whatever studio owns the rights to King Kong and Godzilla. Little rumblings, maybe they're rebooting King Kong just so they can have a King Kong versus Godzilla film. How do you guys feel about that?
That would be a gigantic gorilla.
That'd
Because
be one
Godzilla's like
massive gorilla.
the biggest he's ever been.
Wait, Godzilla
Yeah.
and Skull Island?
Yeah, that's what I.
Really interesting, because I could see like a Jurassic World and Skull Island connection.
I don't know if they own.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know which
It depends on
studio.
studios.
Yeah.
I know that they own Godzilla and King Kong though, so
But
everyone's been talking about it.
It's like an Ant-Man versus someone else kind of
But this is
situation.
the thing,
Because King Kong compared to Godzilla, I mean, it doesn't compare.
but that's why people, the fan theory or whatever, is this is why they're rebooting it, so they don't have to use Peter Jackson's 10-foot King Kong. They can make their own 50-foot King Kong.
That's ridiculous.
It is
though.
ridiculous.
Well, how big was he? I never saw Godzilla. How big was Godzilla?
Gargantuan?
He was big.
He was
massive?
huge, bigger than any silverback gorilla.
Okay.
I don't even if this was a skyscraper. He's like that.
No, but
Thank you for
if you
that.
try and make King Kong the same size as Godzilla,
Crazy.
it's a bit. I mean, King
Far
Kong
fetched.
already is a little unrealistic,
Yeah.
but it's kind of stretching the limits. It's still could be possible.
In a Batman v Superman Avengers world where the studio owns the rights to both properties, I don't put anything past the
Anything's
studio.
possible.
Anything's possible now.
I mean, Alien vs. Predator happens.
Alien vs. Predator happens, Scott.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention that.
Anything is possible.
There's also rumblings of the Men in Black and 21 Jump Street crossover.
Oh, God.
That's a whole other show.
Anything's possible there.
Jeez.
But let's move on to another topic that came out this week. Just a photo of Michael Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender.
Assassin's Creed. A photo came out of him in the full assassin's garb, looking pretty badass, I must say.
Finally.
So what do you guys think? Yeah. Does this make you a little bit more excited about Assassin's Creed finally seeing something tangible from this movie? Adam?
Okay, so where do I begin here? Not a fan of the games.
Oof, okay, not a good start. Not a good
Bad
start.
start.
Starting off in a bad...
Terrible.
So you won't be thrilled that the storyline for this has been said to take place in the same universe as the games itself.
Well, here's the thing, Timmy. I'm just talking gameplay standpoint.
Oh,
Okay.
story-wise.
I like the concept. I think it lends itself very well to a film.
High concept.
Like, better than a video game, even.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Fassbender knows that. That's why he produced it. And I was unsure about this movie. Like, the thing selling me on this movie, I love the picture. He looks perfect, Fassbender. The thing that sold me on this movie was a trailer. And it's not an Assassin's Creed trailer.
Nope.
It's the Macbeth trailer.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's the
Macbeth
director
trailer was unreal.
of Macbeth with Michael Fassbender.
Justin Kurzel, the director of the upcoming Macbeth film, starring Michael Fassbender and Marion Cotillard, who, by the way, is also co-starring in Assassin's Creed. So that trifecta of actor, director, co-star coming back for Assassin's Creed. Macbeth, if you guys haven't seen the Macbeth trailer, it looks fantastic.
Please look it up.
The cinematography, everything, visually looks amazing, which I think is a perfect fit for this film, which, if you guys didn't know the story of Assassin's Creed, it's Fassbender who's playing a new character. They're basically taking the same story from the games, but new characters, new setting where it's taking place, but essentially it's the same storyline. Okay. So he's playing Callum Lynch in this film, who in the games was Desmond Miles.
Is this confirmed?
Yeah, this is confirmed.
Because I was wondering, because when you start the game, like the first game, you play as Desmond Miles, but they reference a subject 16. I think it's 16, I believe, but they talk about.
Look at me.
Theoretically, it could be same.
It could be this Callum Lynch could be the guy, the subject they had before.
There could be a reference to Desmond Miles.
Desmond Miles.
So they set it up for a franchise. I see what you're doing.
Yeah,
it's possible. There could be spin-off. Maybe Jeremy Renner could star as Desmond Miles.
Try to take the torch there.
And then they'll bring
they do that, and Fassbender will come back.
Yeah.
Sorry, Renner.
Sorry, I want to come back, but only if Justin Kurzel directs.
Yeah.
Oh god.
That's perfect.
That is perfect.
But so Callum Lynch, basically, I'm not sure if he's a test subject. I'm trying to remember now. Test subject in this facility run by Knights of Templar in the present day, and they have this machine that when you sit in it, you can take your DNA from your ancestors, and it can take you. Basically, you can relive your ancestors' past events that they lived through, and of course, Callum Lynch's ancestor is an assassin, and apparently it's set in Spain, and I'm not sure if it's the 12th century, 13th century. This has also been confirmed.
This is the movie, though? Or
the movie.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Because in the games, Desmond Miles, it was Italy, it was Israel, it was Constantinople.
Yeah, they never once went to Spain.
No, so I like the fact that they're doing something different for the films, different characters, because that has been a theme in the games. Of now they're doing a bunch of different characters and different settings.
Plus the thing is, like, you have such a creative range with something like this. You can literally do anything with it.
Yeah. I like seeing now Justin Kurzel, who did Macbeth. I want to see his take on Spain now in the 12th century. This kind of makes me excited, definitely, to see Spain and assassins.
I think, like, going off what Ty said, that's the video games that they should be going for to make movies off of. Ones where you can have a blank slate and you can bring in a talented writer or director to just kind of go nuts. Like, I mean, they did kind of do that with Mario, fellas.
Oh God,
Minus the.
it was a new take, but
they did not bring in a talented writer and director. They brought in a writer and director that went nuts.
yeah.
But if you bring in someone talented like this, like you said, you kind of have that core base, which is a good concept.
Yeah.
And then you
surround it with
exactly.
great.
It's like how the Uncharted movie probably won't be that great because they're going to be trying to copying. They're going to try to copy that character and put him onto the big screen, and he's not going to live up to the character that he is in the games.
Right.
But in this storyline, it opens up to having new characters, new setting, but still fit into that same universe. Because if you do a movie that's set in the same universe as Uncharted, it's just going to be Indiana Jones, right? Like a movie like this, or a series like this, exactly what you guys are saying. It opens it up. It's more sandbox. They can go around, play.
It's a good word, sandbox.
I like that.
Exactly.
Video game term. It's meta.
Yeah, like it doesn't have that super strong character. I mean, in the games, I mean, there is Desmond Miles. There is a couple games set around the character of Ezio, who was an Italian assassin, but the potential is there to take any story in history, take any person, explore their ancestry,
Any
and
historical
relive
event. Like
anything in the past, you know? And I think that's a really great concept for a film, so...
Totally, I agree 100%.
I hate how this has been delayed for so long. Like I
yeah,
remember
let's talk about
years.
Yeah, I mean,
It
development
just got
hell
delayed, didn't it? Recently? Well, very recently.
pushed back a little bit, I guess.
Maybe a month or two. I'm not exact on the date, but it just got its, I believe, third delay. And that's why I'm so happy to see this picture and that it looks good, because that's something. It's some sort of tangible thing I can look at to be like, okay, this movie is coming out good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was getting worried
Yeah,
after 3 delays.
Yeah, I'm just glad that eventually it's going to come out, and this photo kind
Knock
of
on wood.
made it a bit more real for me, seeing him in his costumes. Yeah,
Let's
definitely
hope
excited.
this busts open the door for good video game movies. Lord knows.
Yeah,
we don't exist yet.
I mean, Agent 47 did come out.
Resident Evil.
Well, that's what I mean. Let's hope it busts open the door. For
Yeah, because so far, not doing so well in that department. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I mean, some people do love the Resident Evil franchise. But,
guilty pleasure
for some people. But
Next.
But yeah, let's move on to our next topic, and that was courtesy of Jeremy Renner, who posted a couple of photos of the Civil War cast, some posters
Via his Instagram account.
Yes, and this was very revealing about Civil War. We didn't really know who was going to be, facing whose side everyone was going to be on. But these photos seem to confirm the lineups. So basically, if you guys wanted to know, spoiler, Captain America has Winter Soldier on his side, as well as Captain Falcon, Hawkeye with Ant-Man on his shoulder, and also Agent 13, who is Cap's neighbor.
It's really cool. I didn't know that Falcon was promoted to Captain.
Falcon Punch!
Did I actually say
Captain Falcon?
Let's
Wow.
call the Smash Bros. Fans. A little Easter egg.
Wow. It's because I have Captain America and Falcon right now.
I'm sure.
That's pretty amazing, though. If only
I
Yes.
was going to say, I wish
Can we
Captain
please have Captain Falcon in this movie?
Or Anthony Mackie just scream Falcon Punch.
Every time.
But yeah, and on the other side of the spectrum, we have Iron Man with War Machine, of course, and
Which means Captain War Machine.
I can't
Yeah.
take you seriously now.
Wow.
Captain War Machine, Sergeant Black Widow.
Black Panther and Vision are also rounding out Iron Man's side. So, what do you guys think of this? Does this make sense to you? Does this?
I know what I'm thinking. These teams do not seem very fair. I mean, you got
My thoughts exactly.
3 flying characters, which instantaneously gives you a leg up because they can just fly like 90 feet in the air and just shoot laser beams down at you. You got Vision, who's
Yep.
not human.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
They do have Black
I
Widow
agree.
bringing them a little bit back down to earth.
Yeah, but then the other side has Agent 13, who, for all of Winter Soldier, was essentially just a next-door neighbor.
Collectively, 5 minutes in the Winter
Yeah.
Soldier movie.
They literally ran out of people shit, we need one more.
We need a
Cap's neighbor?
we need a neighbor.
That's
Let's bring a
cool.
neighbor into this.
Why not toss Black Widow in there? Why not Black Widow?
Scarlet Witch.
I will say, I was just going to throw that in
she's
there.
in the movie.
Interestingly missing from this
Yeah.
is Scarlet Witch,
Yeah.
who I'm not sure whose side she's going to be on. Do we know, is there any, have we got any inkling of
She'd
that?
be impartial, maybe.
Well,
Just wouldn't care.
I don't know.
She's
It
an
depends on
Avenger.
how close they follow it to the the comic books. So I do believe she marries the Vision.
Correct.
That is correct.
So
that okay. So she could be on Iron Man's side
Well,
or
yeah.
Vision's side.
You have to remember, Ant-Man is giving Cap's side a huge boost.
well, it's giving him a really tiny boost.
A really small,
Yeah.
It's giving
really
him
small
really
ant-sized
tiny-
boost.
Really tiny boost.
Yeah.
To be
Realistic
going
here.
technical.
Yeah.
It's
But
very
like,
small, Adam.
that's a huge help because like they're all kind of like grounded, no powers kind of heroes, and then
Yeah.
Ant-Man's like got a pretty big power.
Still grounded, but his power
Small
isn't sort of like supernatural power. It's
I mean, I
still
can't wait for that moment that
tied to his
happens
suit.
in the comics where he's sitting on one of Hawkeye's arrows, and Hawkeye will evidently shoot him across like a battlefield or
Really?
something. Yeah,
That
I didn't know
sounds-
that, and that sounds amazing.
Well,
sounds
you
amazing.
can see that already because if
Yeah,
you
he-
look at the poster.
on
you
the poster,
see-
he's on Hawkeye's shoulder, like tiny version of himself.
yeah. So you can see that already setting up for that, which is
can't-
very cool.
I can't wait for that moment.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's like precision insertion of, getting in somewhere. Because Hawkeye, so precise, obviously, with its arrows.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to get Ant-Man just so precisely to a location, it
Yeah.
sounds perfect.
What about Black Panther? Whose side is he on? Do
He's
we
on
see?
Iron Man.
He is on Iron Man's side. So that'll be interesting to see how
He's
he
grounded.
ends up
Yeah.
on his side.
Well, especially with the past of Wakanda.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
There's some
So they have a couple grounded guys, like
some backstory with the
Black Panther
vibranium.
can't fly or shoot.
Yeah.
Same Black Widow, Black Panther. But like they do seem overpowered with Vision and Iron Man.
Vision's extremely overpowered. Yeah.
Like whoever gets Vision wins. He's a friggin' android like killing machine.
I mean, Cap is pretty beast, and him and Winter Soldier together. But
That's
still,
true.
it's
Solid combo.
Maybe against humans. If
yeah.
Iron Man and Vision, they can just fly.
Yeah.
Captain America and Winter Soldier are then fucked.
Well, there was a plane in the background of that one side.
We're opening it up to a speculation. I believe that is the Hulk.
Coming back to help Cap.
Yes,
Eh?
flying around in his thing.
But would the Hulk fight against Black Widow? Bruce Banner versus Black Widow.
Would the Hulk fly around in a plane in the first place? Absolutely not.
True.
That's true.
But it kind of is it maybe showing that maybe he's got Shield on his side. Like it's kind of
Whether or not it's actually the Hulk in there is up for debate.
yeah.
But
I think the
it
question
would be interesting to
is,
see what side Hulk would be on.
question is, whose side is Spider-Man on?
Oh, that is true.
We
Yeah.
gotta touch on this, boys. Is he on anyone's side? Is he just like a cameo, like in a school, like classroom? Like what
Yeah.
the biggest thing?
A catalyst for something? I'm not sure. I mean,
We'll have to wait until we see more. 'Cause
could he balance the teams out? Maybe help Cap
That's what I'm
out?
saying. I'm thinking Cap's gonna get him on his side because Jesus, they gotta stop Vision and Iron Man.
I mean, what young kid wouldn't want to go after the honorable or help the honorable Cap? It'll definitely be
fight.
interesting to see.
Again,
how that
we'll have
plays
to
out,
wait and
because we
see.
haven't ever seen that before in
No.
a film. Seen a super young Spider-Man.
No.
We've seen a
Yeah.
high school. I said in air quotations Spider-Man.
Yeah, 30-year-old Toby.
Yeah,
playing,
he's like 30.
playing a 16-year-old.
So we haven't seen a 16-year-old playing a 16-year-old Peter Parker. So
we'll see.
that'll be interesting to
see.
see
We
for
will
sure. There is one other topic I want to mention. We would be remiss if we didn't mention Mads Mikkelsen at least once an episode. He has been rumored
I agree.
to be cast or in talks with Marvel for a unspecified role in the upcoming Doctor Strange film. Tim, what are your thoughts
Tim?
on your boy, our boy,
Go.
Mads Mikkelsen?
You're welcome. Clearly, Marvel listened to our podcast
Yes.
and was like, yeah, he should totally be a villain in a movie for superheroes.
Yes.
Pumped for it, of course.
Any speculation as to what he could be playing?
No, I don't know any characters in
Any
Doctor
ideas?
Strange.
At one point. You know what?
Imminent.
I'm going to the Toronto Fan Expo September 3rd. I'll ask Mads for you guys.
Yeah, ask him for us, please.
I'll say, hey, I'm with Up Real Late. He'll say, oh, yes, of course. And then I'll be like, Mads, just give me a little,
boy.
give me a little tidbit.
Give me a little soundbite.
What's going on with Marvel? What are we talking here? Is Feige here? Can you get him over here?
Yeah, seriously.
Tell me. I'm with
Get him on the phone.
I'm with Up Real Late. Perhaps you've heard of me.
But yeah, definitely would also be interesting to see what he would play. Because I would love if this casting comes true I don't know about you guys,
I think Tim's
but
pretty.
I want to
hell?
see him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Duh.
Anything he does.
I want to see him in every universe.
Yeah, DC, Marvel, Star Wars,
want to
which he
see
is,
him
by the way.
always.
Oh, he is in Star Wars.
Rogue One.
Maybe that's what got it. Maybe
This is
Disney
news,
saw
so.
that, liked it, boom.
There you go. But yeah, I think with that'll tie up episode 9 of the Up Real Late podcast.
You can find us on Twitter at UpRealLate. You can follow our website at uprealate.wordpress.com. You can find us on our Facebook page, Up Real Late Podcasts.
Yeah, Facebook.com / Up Real Late Podcast.
Yeah, like us on Facebook.
Like us, people.
Yeah, you can find all of our podcasts there. We're going to post all of our new stuff there, yeah. Tyler, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Mogi6, MOGEY6. You can also find me on Letterboxd now.
Yeah!
Round of applause.
Round of applause,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you. It's about damn time. You can find me. I'm Up Real Ty. Real spelled REEL, as we've been doing for the last 2 months. Ty, TYE.
Awesome.
Just,
Adam.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter at Franey25. That's FRANEY25. I'm also on Letterboxd, Up Real Adam. Real spelt like a movie reel, of course.
And you can find me at S_Ellis71 on Twitter. And also on Letterboxd at UpRealScott. And that'll do it for us today. So,
I'm also on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
Up Real Tim.
yes.
Look it up. I'm awesome.
Definitely. Keep it real, guys.
Thanks, guys.